It's with a heavy heart that I'm having to contemplate either slowing down or stopping video content. As you can see there, I've done books. I've got 6 books to my name, and that's because I sacrificed to get those books created. Life can't just be work, work, work. We burn ourselves out. It just becomes so exhausting, and we end up losing sight of reality and why we're doing it in the first place. I've worked my arse off for many years with very little reward, and in some instances, no reward. The videos don't get me anything. I do it freely. I freely give my time to try to inspire people, to help them out of difficult situations by sharing my story, and how my mindset operates to overcome such situations. Hopefully, inspire people to go after their own dreams and goals. But inevitably, something has to give. You can't just keep bashing your head against the wall, and hope something improves. It's just that's not how life works. You can try things, but it's important that we adapt. And as I say, we have to have balance, otherwise we burn ourselves out and we literally foul at everything. That's where it becomes an issue. Back in 2022, I had to give up something important, and it was a sacrifice that I don't regret because it was like literally I felt there was no other choice. So in 2022, I was studying towards a university degree. It was going to be about 4 years of study, but it was intense. And I think it was a minimum of 18 hours a week. But I was also working 60 hours a week at a job because it was a 40-hour week job, but it was a brand new sort of warehouse. It's operating a lot of forklifts. Um, I'm putting in the same commitment as my team. I call them teammates, really, your colleagues. It's like everybody's in it together. So sometimes there was times when maybe people were needed to stay on a few hours each day, even come in at the weekends. And sometimes I felt like it's the right thing to do. Sometimes I put my foot down. I said, no, I haven't got the time. I've got to do this. But finding that balance between trying to not just satisfy a job, but do well at your job. And it was like the potential there. If it goes well enough, who knows where it takes you? It might not be the career path you expect, but it pays your bills. So I had that, and that's giving me my platform to be able to be creative in my spare time. And it's really important because it's a really well paying job, and I committed to that. Then I was also writing my books, and by extension, audio books and things like that. And for me, they are my priority. Like when you put in a list of things together, yeah, I want an income, I want a steady income, it gives me balance, it helps provide the platform for everything else. But a lot of the time, I actually sacrifice that for my books because my books are number one. Books are my legacy. They're the things that I'm going to leave behind after I'm gone. Videos may fade, but the books will stand time. So that for me it's literally everything. So where I was finding it difficult, and it was just inevitably, it was like things were coming to a head. I was literally on my lunch break at work. I was having to sit there and do my studying for the university course just to get like I'm like if I take half an hour here and half an, it adds up throughout the week. It helps. Everything helps. But I was just getting burnt out. It was just too exhausting. It's like this is just ridiculous. It's not sustainable. And I was recognizing it. I'm constantly arguing with management at work because they want you to do the extra hours and maybe they think you're not as committed as everyone else, but you're trying to balance. And I'm someone that will stand up for myself, and I will say that. Um, but even so, it was still like this. This is really hard to focus because if it was only the studying and the work, I could have done it. It'd have been exhausting, but I could have probably found a balance. But I still had the books, and that was where it was like, there's too much. This is something's breaking here. So, like I say, I've been working my ass off doing my creative projects and haven't received the rewards. Now, the spiritual side of me says this is really unbalanced and unfair. I argue with the universe an awful lot because I say if we're talking about an equal exchange of energy, I've given and given and given, and I still haven't received. And I get really, really pissed off in all honesty because it's so unfair. It's not justified. We get a lot of signs of like things coming and your life changing, you're going to get victory, you're going to get recognition. But it hasn't happened yet, and I'm giving up too much at sacrifice for no reward at all, or very little. So, like I say, the balance is going to it's getting to the point now where something's got to give again. Something's got to give again. So recently, I passed a refresher course for the forklift. Um, I take myself away from environments to try to elevate my life, but when it doesn't work, you still have to be practical and pragmatic. So I'm okay. This isn't paying the bills. That's the thing, isn't it? So this isn't paying the bills, and nothing I'm doing is paying the bills. So it's unsustainable. I can't. I'm not prepared to sacrifice my entire life living in poverty. It's just not right. I can do it in periods, but it can't. There's no way. I'm not living a life like that. So the universe either catches me and meets me at, or I have to deviate off and then work it myself. And that's kind of where I'm at, taking everything in my own hands, really. So right, last night, early morning, I just started applying for a few forklift positions, warehouse roles. Whether they come to anything, I don't know. I would anticipate so. I've got the licenses, I have the experience. I'm just as good at that as I am at everything else I do. I'm very good at it, so it's more than manageable. So that will take up maybe 40 hours a week of my day, of my time. Now that's a full time position, just like everybody else. Now most people, I don't like to be like rude or anything, but a lot of people they work like that. They're exhausted, and then they justify doing nothing after. Because they're exhausted from work. It's a full time role. That's what I'll be doing, but I'll still be working on my books, my projects, my audio books. There's multiple manuscripts I have planned, and I will get I would say at least 2 books this year done. I mean, anticipate, but potentially even 3. But it's going to be dependent on how much I push myself with the job. Because when I'm enjoying myself, I don't mind doing overtime. It really depends on where I'm at. What do I want for me? Is it available? Okay, gives me money. If I'm enjoying the role, I don't mind. So like I said, something's got to give with this. If I end up working 40 hours a week doing a traditional job, which I have no problem doing, it just seems pointless when I could be doing something else, but irrelevant. Hey ho, I don't get to determine that. I'm not making money from this. So they've got the full time role. Then you're back in a situation where the books, and what did I give up last time? I gave up the university course. Now I could have done that if it weren't for the job. I could have easily accomplished it. I just what can you do? Something had to give. And in this case, it's going to be the videos because I can't just work my whole life. I can't work every minute of the day. I get burnt out and it's unbalanced. If you don't have balance to your life, you're going to suffer immeasurably. You can't live like that. It's not sustainable. So even if people think the video, like when you create video content, because I see this a lot where people go live and things, and people say, "I'm not investing in someone who's they're just content creators." It's like, yeah, but people are giving up their time and you're being entertained by them. So by extension, that person should be able to survive doing it. Otherwise, what's the point? People expect too much for free all the time. Now I don't go live, so I don't expect anything of anyone, but I do expect a fair crack at the views, and I'm not getting it. I'm getting like 50 views, 60 views. So it's a lot of time and effort for me to then be roadblocked on every video I create. And it's like, that's not sustainable and it doesn't make sense. That's the point. So, in terms of a healthy, balanced life, me working a full time role and then also working effectively part time on my books because it's going to have to be. It'll be the point where I'll still find time for the books, but it's just going to take longer for each publication, really, because balance, balance, balance. So, with that in mind, I don't have as much. I won't have as much time, if any, to do my videos. Now, I'm sure I'll create some videos because I enjoy doing it. I recently invested in a green screen. I enjoy it. I like what I do, and it'd be lovely if I was making money off it and I didn't have to do that full time role and I can just make this my living. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? We don't all get that breakthrough, unfortunately. So, like I say, the fact that I had to give up the studies is not much different to me having to give up the videos. It's just a shame, but it's an awful lot of me that I'm giving away for free. And when you do the maths and you think, where am I going to make money? Like, how's my life going to improve? As much as I love doing the videos, they don't make me a penny. Don't get anything from it. There's potential to make money from my books and my audio books. That's an income. It's passive income. It's income I can make for the rest of my life. So every time I invest in that, that's a chance to change my life. And of course, by extension, it helps people in a similar way the videos would. But of course, if I work a traditional job, that's a guaranteed income. That's important for my sustainability and give me opportunities really outside of creative projects in life. So anyway, yeah, it's a heavy heart because I do enjoy creating the videos, but it's just where do you find the time? I'm someone that often puts so much pressure on myself. I actually forego my own happiness and enjoyment because I feel pressured all the time to be able to do this, to do this, to do this. Almost like lazy for doing something else. But it's like, I'm not a mule. I can't just create, create, create. I can't just exist like this. It's not fair for me, to be totally honest. It's not fair. I want to enjoy myself. Life has to have more meaning than just work. And every aspect of my life is work. Like whether it's working on the videos, whether it's working on the books, whether it's working on audio books, and by extension, further than that, going back into traditional work. But either way, without the traditional work, I've been working my ass off, but I haven't received much for it at all, if anything. Not looking for sympathy, just providing perspective to show people the hows and the whys and how I come to make decisions. And I do get frustrated because, like I say, when you hit roadblocks where you barely get views on your content, it's like, what can you do? It's obviously if you follow trends and just look, and you're saying for the best part of a year or two now, you've barely got views on your videos. One or two videos may get more, but for the most part, the pattern is that the platform is suppressing my content. So why would I invest in the platform? You know, why would I forego a traditional job that pays me an income that helps me thrive to create video content that literally hits a wall every time you post it? The maths does it? It doesn't add up. Nothing makes sense. So I think a better balance of my time is like traditional work, and then focus on the books, and then I'll create part time the videos. In all honesty, I can see me stopping with TikTok. I can see me completely stopping with TikTok sooner or later, because I'm happy with YouTube. By extension, I may start focusing again on the podcast side of things. Because what I don't want to do is waste my time editing. And TikTok, that people have short attention spans, it's for short form content. It's not my forte. It's not what I enjoy doing. So it takes, even again, it's time. Even if it's like 10 minutes for me to sort of edit and mess about, which 10 minutes sometimes turns into 20. You don't even realize how long you lose. Again, that's the time I need to relax. I deserve to relax in my spare time. So if I've worked my ass off in other areas, then I finally do a video. And then after I've done the video, I've then got to edit and mess about with it to put it on another platform. It's like, I don't need that extra step. I don't need that step. Um, it is really frustrating because, to be honest, when you think you've outgrown something, to have to keep going backwards every time you want to go forwards, it's like, this is just ridiculous. It doesn't even make sense. Like, when does my breakthrough come? Um, but alas, it hasn't, and I have to take ownership of my life and make a decision. And in this instance, yeah, I want sustainability now. I want to be able to thrive, and if it's just doing a traditional job, then it will be, because I'm not going to struggle my whole life. It's not a fun place to be. It really isn't. In phases, it's justifiable, to elevate. So, um, I don't know if I'm going to keep sacrificing for books anymore, because at this point I've done enough. If you, for instance, if you look here, we've got the 6 books. You've got 4 in the corner there, 2 in the corner there. I've got more coming. I don't think at this point me sacrificing to release yet another one is really good for my well-being. I think it makes more sense personally to try to stay in with a traditional income and then work the books on the side. Just because, what's the point now? When I first started my writing journey, of course, it's my passion, it's the be all and end all, it's my legacy. It was like, get this created at all costs, and I did that. But any future books are an addition now, so like, yeah, they'll be just as it. I think they'll all be as relevant. They'll all be relevant. There's a purpose to every book that gets created, of course, but I don't think I need to suffer financially for every creation anymore. My life. What I want is I want like stability. That's what I want. So I want things to be a bit more continuous. I don't want to keep stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. It's like, that's just annoying me now. I want to be able to plan. That's what it is. I want to be able to plan my finances. I want to start like being more practical. I want to start looking ahead at adventures and holidays and experiences. And yeah, I don't feel like feeling stagnant. And I feel like with the video content, I'm incredibly stagnant. I feel at no fault of my own, because I feel I put everything into my videos, and I think I deserve more credit than I get, especially recognition. Um, by extension, it should help me financially, but it hasn't. And let's say it's important that we prioritize areas of life. And I do these videos really just to show people the course of action I take, and then hopefully it helps people maybe contemplate their own life and maybe what direction they want to go in. Because yeah, you can. There's nothing wrong with throwing a Hail Mary and going after your dreams, but sometimes you have to be pragmatic as well, and it's just assess things on a continual basis, and then recognize whether it's worked or not. You can always take a step back. It's fine. It's life, you know. But at the moment, I'm getting too frustrated with the lack of growth and the lack of success that me going backwards to something more traditional, it will alleviate the stress and the expectations on everything else. Because if I'm sustaining myself with regular income, you know, I'm sort of interacting with people like in workplaces, environments, I keep myself busy and stimulated, then, you know, I'll give myself that stability. And then there's less pressure on the other side of my life. You know, I can do stuff in my spare time. But yeah, I have no doubt that there'll be a level of exhaustion that comes with it, though, and it will affect other areas. So, like, it may slow down the books more than I even anticipate. Because you work a full-time job, for instance, it don't guarantee you're going to have much time to create anyway. Because you just got to want to rest sometimes, aren't you? That's life. We're humans. You know, we can only push ourselves so far. And I don't really feel like burning myself out every day, to be totally honest. It doesn't make you feel too good being burnt out. So like some of the jobs I'm looking at, they're all different. I've always been quite rigid, really. I usually like starting early, finish early with a job, and I prefer Monday to Friday. Now my mind's sort of opening a little bit. I don't really care so much. So I'm looking at some weird jobs. Some are 2 on, 2 off. Some are like no. One I saw was 2 on in the morning, 12-hour shift, 6 till 6, and the other one was and then on for 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And I was like, that's a crazy shift. And it was like, because that was 2 on an early, 2 on a late, and then 4 off. And I thought that's interesting because I've always been interested by that. It's like work your ass off for 4 days, and then you get 4 days off. Work your ass off for 4 days, 4 days off. Now it's only one or two of the roles. They're similar. There's all these different things, you know. And I just think sometimes it's worth thinking about it. May not look practical, but you know what? That's interesting actually, because it was like if you think about it, 6 in the morning to 6 p.m. If you did that, I had to turn down a job in the past because it was that, but it was 4 days in a row, and I thought that's exhausting. I don't think I could actually sustain that. And then it was 3 off, I think. I can't remember how it worked, but this one's 4 on, 4 off. But what I liked when I thought about it deep enough, I thought 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Okay, you come home, you're going to be exhausted. That's a long shift. You're going to do dinner, and you're probably going to be knackered and want to go to bed. But you do that for 2 days, you think, but wait a minute, you finish. So on the second day, you finish at 6 p.m., yeah? But then the next day, you don't actually start till 6 p.m. So you actually have a whole day. So you have a whole morning and day before you start your next shift. That's 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. I'm sure that'll kick your ass, like really kick your ass. And then you do 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. But then you actually get 4 days off. So I thought, that's interesting. So I did apply for it. I thought, I'll have a look. I'm not sure if I can do it, but you know, it's just that I'm thinking of it a little bit, trying to be a bit more open-minded about some roles now, rather than say it has to be this, has to be that. So have a look. Let's have a look. But yeah, I mean, I have experience in so many different areas, and I don't want to pigeonhole myself or restrict myself. So like I say, I recently got my forklift license, and because I have to be realistic, where's my income coming from? You know, I've had a back issue for a long time, but I'm recognizing if I go back on a forklift, it alleviates the pressure on the back because the machine does the work. And sometimes you have to be more active as well because it might help strengthen your muscles as well. So it's all sorts of things. I'm just trying to improve my circumstances, really. I owe it to myself. But seeking a balance is never particularly easy, especially when we're ambitious. But honestly, sometimes I feel like that. I need to take a step back anyway. Rather than keep feeling the urge to create, I need to stop. And it's not easy because I'm someone that always has something on my mind. Like I had a concept for another video after I do this, and I really wanted to talk about it, but I'm not even going to bother. It's I'm just going to let it go. And that's how I'm going to probably go a lot lately now. When I get a real urge, I'm just going to have to fight that urge and just say, no, don't record it. Don't record it. But anyway, I wish everyone well. Anyone that supported my journey, I do appreciate it. I know I've reduced my following list a lot, only because I'm not interested in follow for follow. I'm not interested in too much of statistics, to be totally honest. A lot of time you follow people, it doesn't even end up on your For You page anyway. So it's like, what's the point? The main thing is people like and interact with videos. Like I say, I've disabled comments just because at the moment I just got no interest in back and forth with people at the moment. I'm not in the right frame of mind for that. Eventually, maybe I will unlock the comments, but then at the same time, I could very well just delete my whole platform and focus solely on YouTube. We just have to wait and see.